Hey, I created a team calendar that updates automatically based on the year and month that you provide. So, for instance, it's a brand new year. At the top left here, I have two drop downs. I have one for the year, so I'm going to select 2025. And the key thing I would like to highlight before I select 2025 is that the cells highlighted in blue representing the weekends will actually update with the calendar thanks to the conditional formatting that I use. So I'm going to go and select 2025, and then I can even update the month, and we'll go to 1. And then from here, what I would usually do is just copy the whole month and paste that into a new tab called January. And I can do that, repeat that process for every month, and the conditional formatting will save me that manual work of going through and highlighting each cell. So let me show you how I built that. It's really quick, really easy. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up a new worksheet. So we'll just go to File. I'm going to go from New from Template. I just wanted to first show that Excel does have calendar templates available, but I couldn't find one that met the team calendar format that we're creating here. So, but you know, maybe take a look. There might be something in there that could meet your needs. So for me, I'm going to open a blank workbook. All right, so I'm just going to drag that up a little bit. So the first thing that I'm going to create is going to be the list of months and years that we can use in our drop-down list that goes in the top left corner. So let's just rename this tab to List. And I'm going to enter 2024, and we'll drag this down. And let me just change that to Fill Series. There we are. So that will give us about 10 years of years to select from. You can add more or less and change the range as you want. And we'll do the same thing for the months. So I'm going to drag that down and update that. Okay, so now we have our list. So let's go to the next tab. We'll create a tab, and this is going to be the actual template that we're going to use. So I'm just going to rename that to Template. All right, so let's start with our first drop-down, which will be the year. So to create the drop-down, you just need to go to the Data menu, and then there's going to be a Data Validation option. Right, and then within data validation, you just need to select a list, and that'll give you the ability to select your source. So for that, we'll go back to our list tab. I'm going to select my list of years. Okay, and we'll just pick a year here. We'll put 2024. And now we'll do the same thing for the months below. So I'm going to select the cell. I'm going to go back to data validation, select from a list. And we are going to go and select our source here, our months, and enter, and we'll just put January 2024. All right, so this list is what helps make the calendar dynamic. So we want to be able to, you don't have to create a list. You could manually type this in, I guess, every time you want to update the year, but I just like the list. It's a little bit cleaner, right? So next we're going to start with our dates. So we're going to need the top two rows. The first one, I'm using the month and day, so like January 1st, January 2nd, and then the second row is going to be the actual day of the week. So to do this, I'm going to use the date function. This is what's going to help make it dynamic. So we're going to type in the next cell over, equals, type in date, and now it's going to give us the arguments to choose from. So our first argument will be the year, so I'm going to choose that. Our next argument is going to be the month, so I'm going to choose the cell below for the month. And then for the day, we always want it to start on the first of the month, so I'm just going to type in 1, and then I'm going to close the bracket and hit enter. And we're going to do the same thing for the cell below, which this row here will be the days of the week. So we're just going to type in equals, date, year, month, and the first. And hit enter. Okay, so let's just reformat this really quick so that it looks better and is easier to read. We're going to right click on the first cell, go to Format Cells, and then there will be Custom, and I'm going to enter the format 3Ms, which is going to give us the spelling of the date, and then I'm going to put DD for the day number and hit OK. And we'll do this for the day of the week. We'll right click on this cell, go to Format Cells, Custom, and by putting in 3 Ds under the type, this will give us the day of the week. If you put 2, it gives you just a number, and it's actually the same thing with the months. So we want the day of the week. We want to see that. At least that's what I want to see. I'm going to hit OK. So now this is already dynamic. I can change this and it's going to update, right? So we're just going to create the rest of the days of the month, and that's going to be really easy. We're just going to type in the next cell, equals. We're going to hit the date in B1 plus 1. So we're just going to increment it by 1 day, and we'll do the same thing with the cell below, equals and plus 1. All right, so let's just drag this out for, we got to make it 31 days for January, so we're just going to drag this out. All right, and Control V, and there we go. We've dragged it out. So now we have already the dynamic calendar here. We can change the year, and everything's going to update. So I'm just going to go back to the first. All right, so let's just put in our employees, Pitbull, and we'll do Enrique Iglesias and myself. I'm going on concert with them. And now what we'll do is just do some quick formatting. So, you know, I liked this to be green, so I'm just going to select this column here. We'll make it green, and I wanted this to be blue, so I'm going to make that blue, and the fill or the words to be white, and I want the top 2 rows to be bold, and we'll make this bold as well. And let's just center everything here. We'll get everything centered, and I will also add some border lines. There we go. All right, so already we kind of have the functional calendar, and so the next step I wanted to do was just to just highlight the weekends, and I wanted that to be dynamic so that if I change the month or the year, the highlighted cells update as well. So to do that, we're going to use conditional formatting, but this is conditional formatting based on another cell. So I just want to show you really quick how that's going to work. So here's the formula I'm using. It's not a hard one. I'm going to use the weekday function. So the weekday function returns a numerical value based on the day of the week. So the first argument in this function is going to be the date that we want to examine. So in this case here, I'm just going to pick Saturday, right? So it's going to take a look at Saturday, January 6th, and it's going to give us a numerical value. So we're selecting the first argument. Next is how do we want to assign numbers to it. So if I don't select this by default, it goes to number 1 because this is an optional argument. I just find it easier to understand if Monday is the first day of the week. So I'm going to select number 2, and I'm going to close that out. And so now we have number 6, and I can just drag this out, and you'll see that we have number 7. And then I'll go to Monday, and this should be number 1. Right? So this is how the that function works. So now we're just going to try and return a true value. So actually, this is going to be very easy. So we know that Saturday is 6 and Sunday is 7. So essentially, anything above 5 or greater than 5 would be true, and anything lower than 5 would be false. And so this is how we're going to build that into our conditional formatting. So I'm just going to type in greater than 5 and hit enter, and now we have false. You see how it updated to false under Monday, but if I copy this over to Saturday and Sunday, it's going to come back true. right? And so the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use an absolute reference, because so as I drag this to the right, I want this to update. But as I drag it down, I also want it to update. But without the proper reference, the formula is going to update, and we're going to get mixed results. So watch this. So you see how under Monday now we have false and true, true, true. Well, I want the whole column to update. So we're just going to make this an absolute reference, and we're not going to make the column an absolute reference. We're going to make the row number an absolute reference. So I'm going to put a $sign in front of the row number. So now the column, the row will stay consistent as we drag out the formula. So let me just copy that again and paste that. So now it stays consistent. So we have Saturday and Sunday are true, and the rest are false. All right, so let's go and create a conditional format. So the way to do that, I'm going to delete this. I just wanted to show how that works, right? So, okay, so we're going to select the range to which we want to apply our conditional formatting. So we're just going to select that. I'm going to go all the way to January 31st. I'll go back to the beginning. I'm going to select conditional formatting. I'm going to create a new rule, and I'm going to select the option to use a formula. If you're using Windows, it's actually fewer steps to get to this option here. So now we're just going to type in the exact same formula that I typed in earlier. So I'm going to type in equals weekday. We're going to examine cell B2. Notice how Excel added an absolute reference in front of the column by default, so we're going to remove that. We're going to give it the next argument, which is 2, meaning that we want to start with Monday being number 1, right? I'm going to close that bracket for the weekday, and greater than 5. So anything greater than 5 is going to be highlighted, and I'm just going to change the color. I'm going to make this blue. I just think that's maybe a little bit of a better color for the weekend. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit OK again. And so now you can see that my cell has updated. And from here, it's just a simple matter of updating your calendar. Oh, actually, I forgot to make these yellow like I did in my original calendar. So I'll make this yellow. And yeah, so now if I change years and I go to 2025, January, everything updates automatically. And then so all you need to do from here is just copy this and paste it into a new tab for whichever month you're working with. So, you know, right now it's just January 2025, so I would just create a new tab. I could name that Jan, and just paste that in. And now I have my team calendar for January, and you can go on and do that for all the different months. Hey, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, be much appreciated. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. Have a good one.